Hi everyone, this is Norman Kochneck here from Eyes on Cricket with Norman Kochneck. I'm going to get the light turned on. Yeah, I've got my lights. So we're here talking post-match. We were here during the match and post-match. It's been such an amazingly interesting game, and I actually think it was a significant game. It shows a lot about what's going to happen during the World Cup. Don't you agree? I've got once again the great honour of having David de Graveney with me on the show. It's wonderful to have you here, David.
It's all right, Nolan. Some of my predictions came true then.
They certainly did. Fabulous performance. England have played they've shown to me they are a real force in this World Cup.
Oh yeah, well that I don't want to build it up too much, but I think the combination of allowing some of our better players to play in T20 franchises, different attitudes from the ECB, the introduction of the 100-ball game, a few things have enabled people to really develop their T20 skills. And, we've got some really good players. And it came to the fore. And they serve Australia. I think the margins of victory and defeat will be very fine. And, in this particular run chase, Australia did really well. But 1 over from Mark Wood changed the game.
Absolutely.
Got Stonis out and David out, and that's when Australia were in a really good position. And it can just easily just slip away there in front of your very eyes, basically. So,
well, look, Dave Warner, he batted well.
Yeah.
Aaron Finch looked good in essence. Mitch Marsh looked good, but they didn't finish it off. Tim David got out very cheaply. Yes, I think even though he's been a sensation of late in different formats, he might struggle under the pressure of such a tournament. I'm a little bit touch concerned, but ultimately, the Australian bowling was fairly ordinary, I thought. But Reece Topley, the wicket he took of Cam Green was an excellent delivery.
Yeah,
it was a perfect delivery.
Well, the two seamers that I mentioned before we started, Topley and Wood, are the two for me key bowlers. Not to say the others will bowl well. I think they're a major threat on Australian wickets because one's quick and the other one gets good bounce, particularly in that power play. So getting Cam Green out obviously is a good start. But again, Australia kept ploughing on. It wasn't, they went at 10 and over, but just lost wickets just at the wrong time. And I still think that they don't bat as deep as England do. Though it's very difficult coming in low down the order when the race hadn't gone out of control, but still 10 and over is a big target to get.
Oh, it's huge.
You've got to hit a boundary in the first 3 balls you face, basically. So.
But I think we can't underplay the significance of Josh Butler. To me, not only his captaincy, but his presence, his awareness, his calmness. He helped Alex Hales immeasurably, and it was mentioned in the report about the way in which Alex Hales is enjoying having Josh Butler with him opening.
Well, Josh is fantastic. I've seen him since he's been at school. He's just such a talented individual, and a very modest person as well. He his pre-match interviews all talked about people enjoying the occasion. Don't put too much pressure on yourself, and that's come through. I think that is what is being delivered by the coaches, either in Test match cricket or one-day cricket. Just relax, express your skills, and we'll see what happens. You're here for a reason because you're one of our best players.
There's some questions about the so-called. There's a lot of interest about the way Butler played. I think Tim David certainly, they're putting a bit of pressure on him because there's a high expectation now from him, and he'll fail on occasions. But there's so many question marks. Marcus Stoinis and Maxwell. Clearly, there's a decision to be made about those two. And Stoinis didn't play badly today, but I still think Maxwell's got that X factor over and above him. So it's commission to see what they do in that particular match, that matchup.
Well, I know Stoinis is really highly rated. I remember Shane Warne talking about him, extolling his virtues or whatever. Maxwell has played in this country, and he has a range of shots that are phenomenal, but he's just for me a little bit inconsistent about when he delivers. Whereas, you know, I think Josh Butler obviously helps if you're opening the batting and whatever, but yeah, and Stonis is another one. I've never really seen him hit some big shots or whatever, but I've never seen him sort of be knocked out at the end and win a game. I'm sure he has, because he wouldn't be in the team otherwise. But that's the sort of thing that you want, is that and it is a very difficult thing, Norman, you know, to keep swinging from the hip and stay, you know, it's the great instruction from a captain. Get as many as you can, but don't get out. So it's sometimes difficult to achieve that.
So we didn't have Liam Livingston on the side tonight, for example. Where's he going to fit? He should be there as well. He demands selection.
Yeah, he's had a really stop-start season, I would have to say. The year before, he was devastating in whatever form he played. And actually, when you turn your ankle, as he appears to have done, that sometimes can take quite a long time to recover, because I think mentally you feel as if you might do it again in the field. So it'd be interesting to see sort of if he gets the opportunity. But as you say, where are you going to fit him in that batting line? Phil Salt would consider himself very
and even Bairstow, he's no longer there because he would have had another.
How would you have fit? Where would you put Bairstow?
God, at the moment, I have no idea. I mean, I would have had him at 4, maybe where he was earlier on. But now, I mean, David Milan's another one. There's England have power, and Moeen Ali. We shouldn't discount the vice captaincy style role that he plays in this team.
He did a really good job in Pakistan, and it would have been a really enjoyable and honour for Moeen to captain in Pakistan in the circumstances. I spoke to the head of the PCA, Rob Lynch, who was very central in terms of working with the PCB to get these games on. And, you know, he said it was a very emotional occasion when the first ball of the first match was bowled, because a lot of people would have thought this isn't going to take place, but it did. But I think England have the right sort of problems that if everybody was fit, it would be very interesting to see who would play. But I think they've got a really, really strong team. I just think Mark Wood is the real key. Without the likes of particularly Jofra Archer, you know, he is the pace bowler that you need. And, you know, even watching Australia play the previous game against the West Indies, you know, it's Stark and Hazelwood, they get it through now. Josh Hazelwood gets it through. And you're going to need that type of bowling. You've got to be able to bowl, if the right expression, to be able to bowl chin music, Norman, that actually you're going to have to. There are certain batsmen. No, not everybody likes short pitch bowling, but you've got to be able to force people back, because otherwise they'll just hit you off the front foot. So,
although Warner handled him pretty well early on.
No, Warner is you know, he's a Test match opening batsman, you know, and with the greatest respect, he's not the tallest person in the world, so a lot of the deliveries will be short to him. So I think it's more the Stonis, David type player, you know, who obviously want to get on the front foot and bash it. And Mitch Marsh is a bit the same. But there'll be players like that in every team. So,
would you have Cameron Green opening, or would you have Aaron Finch?
Well, I think that actually, I think England would have probably wanted Aaron Finch to open the batting. I think that they feel they can get him LBW, particularly with the left arm over seam bowlers. That's just get it to swing, and the swing only lasts a couple of overs. So I think he's had sometimes a difficult time opening the batting, and actually to move him down the order. And Cameron Green's had, other than today, which will happen to every single batsman. You know, he's had quite a bit of success opening the batting, so I would persevere with that. It fulfills the right-handed, left-handed, and a lot of bowlers would have been bowling at the beginning of an innings to Finch and Warner, which is a challenge. But have Cameron Green, it just presents a different set of problems. And if Finch, who is an outstanding one-day player, gets more runs in the middle order, and he feels comfortable, he'll carry on.
It's intriguing to me because I think this match was more significant than most people would give it credit for, because it showed England that they can hold Australia to a score and defend. Okay, that's one thing. I think the bounce of the wicket actually suited most of the English batsmen, especially the openers. The bowling was particularly sound. They've ticked all the boxes. Now they're going to play in Canberra the next two games, which is again a flat top. It'll be a drop in wicket. It'll be fairly benign, and it'll have a fair bit of pace on it. You'll have the conditions won't be a factor. There'll be no toss issues. It's ready made for England and probably even India. But I think England are going to come to the fore. And I think today's example shows me that.
In the weather forecast, not very good, Norman, and down in that part of the world.
Oh, well, at the moment, the East Coast is being hit by a lot of rain, to be honest. Yeah. Despite that, I played 3 games of cricket today in a hospital charity match, which was a lot of fun with Neil Maxwell and a few other notables. We had a great old time. It was a great event. I'd say one match lost to everyone. But the weather was okay for that. But the East Coast will probably be a lot slower paced, I'd say MCG and SCG, which will favour sides that the bouncier pitches, the Gabbers, the Perths, and even Canberra will suit, I think, England a great deal.
Well, and for them to have played in Pakistan, they're quite used to playing on slower wickets. So, yeah, it'll be. No, I think as a team, I think they're in a good place. I think they tick all the boxes in terms of whatever service you're going to play on, and I think the bowlers. I know the bowlers all know their roles. But it'd be interesting to see how people react to people being injured, because this is T20 cricket. Everybody said, well, it's only 20 overs or whatever, but it's a very demanding type of cricket, more so in what the demands placed on you in the field more than anything else.
I agree.
So, but I think if England can keep the key players fit, we are not allowed to sort of put wages on matches and things like that. But in another world, I would be backing I'm backing our team without having a bet. So I just think that they're just in a good place. The whole of the international cricket in England they just look happy about going about their business. So long may it continue. And you and I know that winning and losing makes a huge difference in that respect. But
absolutely,
I just think that they've got and that's no criticism of what's happened before or whatever. But I think they quietly, and they say the right things. Like Moeen, final press conference in Pakistan, I was asked, "Are you the favourites?" and he played that down. So I think a lot of people are playing our chances down, but I think today they have shown exactly their strengths.
And let's not forget, this is the first game on Australian soil for some time.
Yeah,
as a team. I mean, they've played obviously the recent Ashes series, but this is a great hit out. Butler looks in prime form. His captaincy was good. He had the backing of Moeen Ali. There's not much to. Yeah, maybe there's an issue around Sam Curran's role, and not that he played badly, he played well today, but whether they sort that out, whether he's in or not in the side. But I think honestly.
But if I said to you before, Norman, his bowling at the end, and sometimes it can come unstuck or whatever, but his quick arm action is very difficult to line up. So
absolutely,
and he's very good at bowling round the wicket and full, which is and he does bowl Yorkers. It seems to be that when you are under the pump a little bit as a bowling side, bowling Yorkers seems to go out the window. But yeah, they all know their game. They played limited over cricket. He's just come back from injury during the course of the summer, so he will be fresh and firing to go. Chris Wokes is the same. So we've got a lot of guys who have had periods of time out during the summer, but fortunately for our chances, are now back fighting fit.
Well, the timing of the World Cup suits England. The players have gone through a full season. They're well honed and ready for this. Most of the Australian guys will have a few matches now, but then they haven't had a true season of late. They've tried to put one together. It's pretty clear that Australia and England will be a the winners of their group, I would say, which will mean the likes of India and Pakistan potentially with a New Zealand, no, not New Zealand, India, Pakistan, and maybe South Africa could be the other group. And they'll mix and match, and you'll see Australia play possibly a Pakistan. But the cliched or so-called crunch match will be India versus England in a semi-final, because I think those two will determine a berth in the final.
Yeah, I can see your logic of doing that, but in T20 there are some banana skins lurking, but I think it's more for England. And not to say they can't play on spinning wickets, but I think they're more likely to be upset in the subcontinent than they are on Australian wickets. I think the Australian wickets suit our style of batting, as they do Australia and other sides. The ball comes onto the bat. Spin unless the SCG, and particularly this time of year, I would imagine spin will not quite be as important as it is if there's a tournament like the World Cup. The next World Cup is in India, so it'll play a huge part there.
Oh, look, I'm very. I think this match is very pivotal in the scheme of things. The matches we play in Canberra against England will show out form as well. But I think England have got on the right foot now, and they're in the right direction. There's not much to be concerned about. I think Australia has a little bit of a concern because they've got some players who are in the side who they still aren't sure. They're still unsure about Cameron Green. He could well be changed and put in the World Cup squad. Steve Smith is mud now. I think he's basically out. He has been left out of so many games in a row. Yeah. He's clearly not expected to be a part of this team. Oh, that's my feeling.
Well, and Cameron Green, anybody can have a game like that. If you bowl your first over and you come into the match with some confidence with bat and ball, and your first over goes for 12, and so it is. Yeah, that can happen, and he gets out for single digits. So he'll reflect back on that as not being the best game in the world, but that happens to everybody. So
of course,
it's how you react to it is the key thing.
Yeah, there's some people bringing conversations about Hassan Ali from Pakistan. He's lost his form that he had about a year ago. I still think Pakistan are a bit of a smoking team that could come up through the tournament, especially because of their ability to handle these pitches. They do love, especially the bowlers love these pitches. And the bowlers up at Rizwan go, well, my God.
They've got some, but their batting lineup, Norman, is really top heavy. If you were playing against them, if you can get the first two out, then you're not saying the others can't bat, but they're not the same threat as other sides that have batsmen dotted all the way down their batting lineup. So
that's true, and that's logic would tell us that. But if Babar Azam and Rizwan take over,
I think for them to bat with the obvious pressure that they're under is a remarkable achievement, really.
Babar Azam, his scores at a T20 level, he's already hit 3,000 T20 runs. And he's batted. I've played, I think, only half as much as all the other players. He's destined to be the leading run scorer if he keeps going the way he is.
But you do sense that sometimes when their wicket's falling at the other end, or one of the two get out, the other one has to slightly take their foot off the accelerator just to make sure that they post a score.
Sure.
They also realise that actually with their attack, they can win from anywhere, But in the Pakistan matches, is that the ball got softer, the wickets got a bit slower, so it was still very difficult for new batsmen to come in. I just think on Australian wickets, if they play like this one, then they're gonna struggle to contain a batting lineup like England's and Australia. But Australia just needs to. I think they were like sort of 150 odd for 4, and it just the wheels came off. But they lost a couple of wickets at just the wrong time in terms of their chase, But if you looked at the England side, both sides lost a lot of wickets at the end for actually not very many runs. So that might be an area that both sides might look at in terms of actually somehow trying to keep batsmen who are in stay in. But it's a really difficult balance. You're chasing 10 and over that suddenly I thought they did really well to keep it under control and not let it get out of control. Suddenly 14 and 15 and over, which obviously is impossible. So,
look,
well, if you said to them at the beginning, you needed 40 or 4 overs, which is what they needed. They just had lost too many wickets. If it was 3, then they had some guys in the shed who would have come in and made a dent in that.
Yeah, I think we've seen today an example of where the World Cup will go. I think these two sides will be prominent, and England and Australia will win the group, will be 1 and 2 in their group, and they'll be playing in opposite ends of the semi-finals, and potentially could be in the final.
Yeah,
playing it potentially.
And I know Mo's fantastic bloke, and Josh would be the same. You're not going to stand game 1 and say we're going to win the tournament. They would want to win the tournament, but they will keep their feet on the ground, work on areas that might have been revealed in this, like the batting at the end of the innings. But I just think, and I'm not trying to be overconfident or anything, I think they have a really good chance to win, as do Australia. So I can see,
and the draw has helped them both because they're on the same side of the draw. They'll win their group collectively. It won't matter who's first because they'll be in the opposite groups.
Still good teams. It's not an advantage, being ranked 1 or 2 in the group. The first thing they want to do is qualify for the knockout bit. So and it's the type of setup that if for some chance that you lose a game, then you're under real pressure that you have to play faultless cricket from then on.
And look, I'm impressed because Australia won the toss and dictated that they would bowl first. They tried to be able to have a run chase on, and they didn't. They weren't capable today. They didn't get there because England.
But only they just faltered. They didn't. They started off really well.
But I mean,
but the bottom line, they didn't win the game. So you're in there to win.
But England had control of the game. I still believe they had control of the game. Yeah. Even though they lost the toss, they had control of the game. They batted successfully to set the match up, so they had to have them, against the 8 ball behind the 8 ball from the start.
But they have strong options in terms of bowling, on Australian wickets, because Ben Stokes probably won't bowl necessarily 4, but he just gets people out, the same as Moen gets people out. His frequency, both in red ball and white ball cricket, of getting a wicket when he first comes on is just uncanny, virtually. So they have lots of options to use. So I think they'll be in a good place. I don't think Australia will be, depressed or whatever. They realise that there's 3 of their main bowlers weren't playing in the game, and England played their main attack. That is a point of difference. I think both sides will take a lot of credit. They just want to get out and play. So for some of our guys who are coming back from injury, it was really critical for that.
Stoinis had it look like a reoccurrence of his injury. He was flexing his hamstring muscles and didn't look exactly. I think there's a real issue about his fitness, and Australia may err on not selecting him because of that, which will give a door open for Cam Green to come in. I think that's what's going to happen.
Well, Cam Green and also Maxwell to play. So.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Maxwell
will be very wary of Glenn Maxwell because he's played domestic cricket in the UK, and they've seen what sort of talent he is. He's just one of those incredible players that excites and frustrates in equal doses, basically. So.
Absolutely, and he particularly likes the MCG, which is where the finals get played. So he could well be. That's where he could come into a match winner status.
He is an entertainer. He loves the T20 concept. So But those are the sort of things that you want. But you certainly can't go in on Australian grounds with people who are carrying injuries because the grounds are too big. So you'd have to start hiding him. And he's obviously a very talented all-rounder, but he has issues with his hamstrings. So see what happens.
Yeah, I think he's a risk to take on. I think they can afford to not have him there with Cam Green and the like.
They've got 3 games to prove whether he can go the distance, because when the tournament starts, the games come pretty quick and fast. So I think these 3 games and the practice match will prove one way or other. So
Australia have got the 2 matches now against England. They move straight into a match against India and Brisbane as well. So they're getting a fair bit of exposure to the top teams. As
no, they are. They are, no. Yeah. So you've changed your shirt since the last time I spoke to you. So
yes, I have. I've got a New Orleans, very famous hotel in New Orleans that I stayed at a couple of years ago. It's called, if I can remember correctly, it's called Hotel Montelorne, and it was Italian, but it was in the French Quarter of New Orleans. It was I enjoyed that immensely. I thought that was a lot of fun there.
Good.
Well, thanks again, Dave.
I'll be in touch. Well, you just tell me when you want on, but just send the link as an email and then I'll come and join, because I've been watching a lot of cricket. And the next time we might have a chat about the Pakistan Junior League, which I think is going to be a really interesting concept, because I don't know if you've seen any, and the quality of the cricket. There's a couple of fast bowlers who are playing that. They should be playing Test match cricket than anything else. So it's
fantastic. Looks great, I think.
Absolutely fantastic initiative, and for our young guys who are just played under 19 cricket, they're some of the best players. I wouldn't say all the best players, but people who have taken a gap year, as we would call them in the UK, not going to university, because a lot of them have the opportunity to go to university. I think for them to go and play, and it is high quality cricket at a Test match ground in another part of the world, is just a fantastic opportunity. So I can, assuming the funding's there, I can see that growing and growing and growing.
Yeah, Pakistan have got their heads screwed on correctly. I reckon they're along with India as a future of cricket going on there. The Bangladeshi should have a good look at what Pakistan are doing, because they have got it wrong a little bit at the moment. They seem to have lost their way unofficially. They were potentially going to be another big thing, and they haven't quite been able to convert. So
but they'll be back, because even under 19 level normal, having seen them over the last 4 or 5 years, they've got some really good players. Probably not the same as Gill, Shaw, or Pant and people like that. The India have got into their Test team very rapidly, because Gill just played a few matches for Glamorgan at the end, and he was just a revelation. Basically, he played, nearly got them over the line in terms of promotion, but played. And the weather in England wasn't exactly Indian, to say the least. He needed to invest in some long sleeve sweaters, but he still showed the level of skill that he shows whenever he plays for India. So it's great to see him there. So yeah, I think we got some interesting cricket, exciting cricket to talk about over the next couple of weeks. If you wish me to hear our program,
plan, especially when it comes to World Cup matches which involve England and Australia and the like. I'll get you involved. Clearly, the times may be a bit skewed with. We'll work out the best.
No, just get in touch and text me, and I'll let you know whether I can do it or not. So,
my pleasure, David. You've been fantastic, and your insights are amazing. So people really enjoy listening to what you speak.
Good. All right, then, Norman. Take care. Speak to you
later. Thanks, David. So again, having David Graveney there is amazing. He's insightful, as he knows the likes of a Sam Curran or Reece Topley or Harry Brook very well, and he's had personal experience in their upbringing. And he's very much akin and aware of how the T20 circuits work around the world. And it's been great to have him on. So we'll keep that going. So Green did better over there. Green is batting some nominal views on Matthew Wade's match. Do you support him? People in Pakistan are calling him a cheater. Look, what he did was pretty awful, actually. He should not have blocked the access to him. I think that Australia have had quite a few so-called cheaters, haven't they, late, with going back to sandpaper game and like. So, yeah, I'm not a fan of Matthew Wade, to be really honest with you. And I think that Josh Inglis is ready to step up. So, yeah, that's my opinion. I kind of agree with you. Sapvik Bakari, you know me, we will tell the truth. So the Australian pitches are going to be flat decks, fast, bouncy, and generally okay. The MCG might be a little bit uneven, but generally it'll be good. I think Cam could be a belter for batting as well. So predictable, tosses won't be an issue. It'll favour Australia, England, and India and Pakistan more than ever. I think they're the 4 teams that are threatening. Green had a terrible BBL. Well, I don't think we can say anything terrible about him. I think he's been great. Okay, let's look here. Royal boy, Ellis should be in the squad instead of Richardson. Well, Richardson's, yeah, bit ordinary, to be honest. There's still changes which need to be made to that. I think we'll probably hear about them very shortly. But is Stark, Hazelwood, Cummins, and with Zampa the answer for Australia in their final bowling line? I don't know. I don't think Stark's in the best of form either. I think we've got a bit to worry about there, to be honest, as far as Australia's concerned. I think it's not going to be quite as dramatic a time as we would like it to be in terms of the Australian team. So, yeah, so I'm now watching the game between India and the fact is that England are in a box seat of sorts, but I would argue that the way that Australian cricket media got some stuff in motion. Marcus Thomas is doing a post-match game, media conference with it. An audio from the match. So Marcus Thomas, I think his injuries are a concern. No doubt about that at all. There's a certain. I think there's an injury concern for Stoinis. No fear. Big time injury concern for Stoinis. I don't think there's anything positive about what his leg looked not the best. What else has come up here? So the Australian side there. Okay, we'll see how we go. So, Wazim Jaffa has tweeted that Australia is known for big boundaries, but some it looks like the boundaries have been made shorter after seeing they've made. No, that's not true. They're still big. There's no change there. Australia aren't going to qualify if they pick at Maxwell in the World Cup. I think that's a bit of a. However, I think he's certainly a better player than you're thinking. I think he's a match winner, and Australia know that, and that's. We're not letting him go. I think there's a lot of positives out of the Australian performance, but more positives with England. No, here's Fred Rumsey. We got some. There's some.
Okay. With you, Mark Swinders, after returning to the Aussie squad tonight. I hit straight on the heel. It's actually alright. It just stuck for a little bit. So yeah. No, I knew it wasn't that bad, but it just had a bit of a stinger. So you need to get going.
So it's actually a bit of a stinger.
Yeah. Great game of cricket. I think what a great game for Perth to have after so long without having a game.
Yeah, so great game of cricket. I was talking about the match on at Perth, and it's been a while since Perth had a match. Of course, they've been COVID-ridden. Certainly been a problem. Okay, out of it. Sorry to say, Norman, after what Wade did today, he deserved to lose. Well, yeah, he didn't exactly endear many people, to be honest. I'll have to be honest with you.
I agree with it. So South Africa and India, what's going on here? We've got a magnificent catch from Rabalo. I'm seeing this now. A lot of form here. A lot of form in this game. Just got to just see whether or not. So people need to keep watching this channel. So Maxi, Sampa, Hayes will start, Cummins will come in. Yeah, I agree with that. Shane Batt's been gifted there with swing. There's a bit of that going on for sure. Sam Hazlett's side, he picks Warner, Finch, Marsh, Staunton, Maxwell. That's the big question. David Green, Matt Wade, Stark. Yeah, that's probably the side that's good. Whether they're enough to actually win is another question. I have 220 international. Here we go. Mid innings. I can see the mid-inning scenario being a question. We've got to be able to have. I think the pitch won't be a problem, nor will the toss. Mate, your Aussie team looks pretty ordinary. This World Cup will be a nightmare tournament for you guys. Well, they play like they today over exactly, but I know that Green they go with Smith if no fault. So they won't. I don't think they're going to go with Smith. I think English will be the one that will choose ahead of him. But I think at the moment they're not going to have him there. So I think Smith's going. Astonis they'll stay, and he'll probably sit Cam Green in there. Bubba and Rizwan are certainly two that are worth watching. This for sure. Bubba and Rizwan, Josh Butler and Alex Hales, Australia, Aaron Finch and Warner, or Green and Warner. They're the key impressions. And then you have India's Rohit Sharma, Kohli, and of course Rahul. Some big inclusions there for sure. Huge inclusions. But I think they're going to be capable of doing it. That's my honest appraisal. What do you think, guys? No, Pakistan is definitely going into it because they can't win in Australia. No, I think they can. I think there's a lot to be, not to be understated there. Why is the cheater? Well, he's obstructed the players there. Let's protect that. Yes, indeed. Yes. Oh boy, what a headache! Well, they've got some players out like Livingston, for example. They're going to be thinking, well, this was too good with him not there. Well, they'll let him.
Thanks, Nolan. How are you?
16 goes into the rain.
I had to play 3 games of cricket today. In one day. That's why you're slumped in your.
I'm still haven't been slumped in my seat for a while now. Any other questions, guys? getting there. So we've got India at the moment. India at 2 for 55, chasing a target of 279, with Kishan on 5 and Shreyas Iyer on 7. They're fairly new to it. So last overs only considered 6 runs, so there's a pretty good story there. Okay. Just trying to work out. Norman Pakistan's definitely going to. No, I don't think they're definitely going out of the group. I don't believe that's the case. All right, so it's 12 o'clock now. Okay, so in the scheme of things, guys, I just think that England are well worthy of their position. Australia and India and Pakistan, they're the 4 that I'm picking. And a lot of people would agree with me. Some people may have differing opinions, and they're entitled to these opinions. But I think the way the group structures it. So we need to be able to see whether or not we're going to have anything to do with this. Well, will Australia have to concern themselves with selection? They'll definitely concern themselves with selection. The selection of the Australian team is paramount and based on the importance of the topic. So we are at the top 3 in the world rankings. Okay, Aussie curry. It's Australia, India, England, and Pakistan. So you're still 255 with Rabada. He's their important linchpin. Bumrah we have not got. So we as in India have not got. And that could become a real issue for them. But yeah, the position of India in this whole thing, well, we haven't seen India play yet in Australia still. They're bound to be, well, they're in Perth practicing now. They're going to be playing in Brisbane next Monday and Wednesday. In the meantime, I'm not sure who they're playing. Are they playing them this week? Must be playing somebody during this next few days. I'll find out about that. Does anyone know who India are playing this week in Perth? Are they playing games in Perth? I'm assuming they are. And we heard the whole discussion about the Pakistan under-19 league, and that's so impressive. Very impressive indeed. Nice to see. Nice joke. Actually, it's not. Well, I'm afraid he's one of the better bowlers that have come through. I have to give them some credit for having Hazelwood in the squad. He's shown his wares in the IPL and what better than a winning team like the Chennai Super Kings. He certainly got his best Australia's got the Cummings. Well, he normally does well, but a bit on the out at the moment. And of course, Stark, unpredictable as he is, expensive as he is, he has been taking wickets. That's the point of that now. All right, guys, we might ask me questions, guys, because I'm about to go. There's several episodes on today. Preview, we had 200. We had the mid-match, we had 132, and this one we've got a bit over 100. So we've got numbers turning up. Yours is all, guys. I had 3 sessions today. We need to be able to base this whole thing on. We've got a fairly big routine, or a bit of a schedule, I should say, coming up, and I don't think it's worth, downplaying, because it's going to be very tiring. There's no doubt how tiring it can get. All right, guys. Any more questions? England is a quality side. There's no doubt about that to here. I totally agree. They're very quality side. They're going to be in the top 4. Australia, England, India, Pakistan. That's my top 4. Predictable top 4. South Africa might sneak in. No, I don't think they will. I won't sneak in. I'm not hoping to sneak in, let's be honest. Okay, let's view. I can share the post, subscribe them. Again, India are 2 for 61. Nokia or Norga Joy. Show side looks good. Show looks good too. It's a good pace, and he's playing South Africa at Optus. Yeah, that would be a pretty hard match. So I would agree with that. So yeah. Ryan Corley, Pakistan, the country, shameless sport. They weren't test matches in Australia. They had their issues there. I'm not going to deny that. Any more questions? Well, let me get a drink of water. We'll talk a bit more. Hang on. But yeah, this match here, South Africa's holding it, but it's an ODI. South Africa playing India in an ODI when they got T20s coming in. How could they do that? That doesn't make any sense. Oops. The chocolate not to with it. So I need a 2 to 65. Anyone have a different theory whether Australia, England, India and Pakistan are the top 4? Do we think New Zealand? Do we think South Africa? Have Sri Lanka got a chance? Have West Indies got a chance? Have Afghanistan got a chance? I'm not talking about Afghanistan at all. Terrible scheduling ODIs before T20 World Cup. Good. Pakistan didn't play. It's dumb, very dumb. But India didn't. They knew it was a bad schedule. They took their best team away to Australia. They've not let them play the T20s tournaments, which is good of them. Ron Coley says Australia destroyed Pakistan many times in Australia. They have. Australia will probably play Pakistan in the semi-final. Australia wins it, they go through. India will probably play England, and that's the difficult match. That's the difficult match by far. What do you guys think? You're not telling me. Do you think Australia? Let's look. Obviously, Pakistan, South African bowl there. Who was it? Still a Quinton de Kock. South Africa. Just haven't got it. I'm afraid. So in terms of this South African match, really excruciating to watch, to be honest. So Button Woods both star. Butler and Woods star is what they're saying. Who was better, Butler or Woods today?
Lumps in your seats, then, is it? Exactly. It was a St. Vincent's Hospital charity. It was excellent.
So 14-16. Falling 16. Very impressive the way that Josh Butler went about his business. Great captain. He's a very constable. He did very well in the IPL as well with his team. You've got to take half to him for that. Alex Hales proved his worth. Sam Curran proved his worth. Mark Wood all played well. And Matthew Mott's their coach. And of course, he coached women's side to some success. Thanking him for that. Okay. Indians are banging on their batters, but it's the bowlers who win the tournament. Okay. And you're doing Australia never out of an so you can't predict that. That's true. They still have really good chance to win again, but they're going to have to try out with harder. Sam Curran is a clever bowler. Yes, he is talented. I don't agree with that. Very difficult to get away. That's the truth. Marsh and Stoinis got runs so they can give it. Yeah, they can. But I think Stoinis' injury is the worry. He's not fit, he can't put forward. Maxwell, I still like him. It's trying to find. Okay, yes, we lost badly in Australia, but in the past, but records are meant to be broken. Yeah, they certainly are. I can agree with that. But you do go by past performances to really know what's going on. Historically, certain teams will win and certain teams won't. Well, I still want to maintain the strong weight that we even though they're worthy of some weight. Okay. Here we go with it. 55, so we'll go now and we'll stop. Stiffly power there. Some people like it. They're showing a picture of this Matthew White. Certainly, there's no doubt that Matthew White put his hand up. No doubt. Is this an issue? That whole cheating thing is making the news here big time at the moment, guys. Let's just see. That's how to make a statement. Hagley Oval ground is a decent ground for fields. The question would be, Shaheen is playing after. Yeah, well, that's important. This whole incident with Wade is blown up. A lot of argument that the Matthew Wade scenario. Can't say it was good. Okay. As we said, next 12 years, India, Australia, the age of cricket. Okay. Next 12 years or next 12 months? Oh, that's not sure what's going on. Stark Hazel example of Cummins there. Well, yeah. Shaheen should be okay, I think. That's the guy here. Sean Tate and Hayden would get to a good idea about Aussie conditions as well. Pakistan have got two players, Sean Tate and Hayden in their corner. They're right. That's a good one. All right, guys. We'll see each other tomorrow. Yes, Tate and Tahir, Rowan Coley, Arith is best. We'll talk to you all tomorrow. Okay, everything goes. Rowan, you're done. What's on death in the Bubba Rice one track here? All right, guys. Talk to each other tomorrow. Okay. Ciao. If you like and share the posts, subscribe. Once you're all subscribed, make sure you pass on the subscribers. Talk tomorrow. Okay. All the best.